now compassion, give heed to the cry. Voices of suffering fill the wide sky. Take as your neighbor, both stranger and friend, praying and striving their hardship to end. Wake now, my conscience, with justice thy guide. Join with all people whose rights are denied. Take not for granted a privileged place. God's love embraces the whole human race. Wake now, my vision of ministry clear. Brighten my pathway with radiance here. Mingle my calling with all who can share. Work toward a planet transformed by our care.
Welcome to our summer worship service at First Unitarian Society of Ithaca, a community that reaches for connection even while distanced, digs deep for inspiration in uncertain times, and strives to engage with a world characterized at once by the light and darkness. My name is Joanne Kowalski, the Celebration Associate for this morning's service. Thank you for joining us. We'd like to extend a special welcome to our newly arrived interim minister, Dr. Anthony Johnson, and also to the Ithaca community, members of congregations outside Ithaca, and anyone who might be joining us for the first time. We continue to gather together virtually while physically apart because amid all the uncertainty, we are certain that we need one another. Please be sure to check your email, our Facebook page, and our website for more information about how to create connections amidst this experience of physical distancing. Here are a few announcements. From the Interim Search Committee and Board of Trustees, we are pleased to welcome the Reverend Dr. Anthony Tony Johnson, who began on August 1st as the interim minister of our society. Reverend Johnson brings a wealth of experience to First Unitarian, having been a settled minister, an interim minister, and a contract minister at a number of UU congregations throughout his career. He's arriving most recently from the Unitarian Church in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Reverend Johnson is an advocate of future in-person services with simultaneously live streaming for those who are at home. He believes that music and the arts are significant components of Sunday services and congregational life. Did you know we're having a virtual treasure auction in place of our annual recycling sale this year? It's happening on August 20th, 21st, and 22nd. That's Friday, 9 a.m. to Sunday, 9 p.m. Be sure to mark your calendars. And from the treasure auction team, believe it or not, the online treasure auction is just around the corner. With only 5 days left to donate your precious items, it's time to dig them up and throw them into our large treasure chest for others to bid on. Final donation day is Friday, August 13th. Be joyful in supporting our beloved society and have great fun participating in the auction. Details can be found on the Fuse-It website. Our service this morning has been pre-recorded, but Carol Whitlow and I will be joining virtual coffee hour after the broadcast, so you can share your reflections on the themes of the service. The information for joining the Zoom coffee hour will be visible on your screen at the end of the service. We expect to start coffee hour at approximately 10:15. If easily accessible, the link is also available in this week's midweek announcements. During the virtual coffee hour, you can share joys and sorrows as well. We look forward to seeing you all. Carol Whitlow is our speaker this morning. She will be speaking about her work in helping to set up a shelter in March 2021 in Texas for migrant teen boys arriving in the U.S. from Central America. But first, our chalice lighting will be offered by John and Pat Gaines, followed by a meditation offered by Barbara Hsu.
We light this chalice for the light of truth, for the warmth of love, for the energy of action, and for the harmony of peace.
We'll build a land where we bind up the broken. We'll build a land where the captives go free, where the oil of gladness dissolves all mourning. Oh, we'll build a promised land that can be. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land where we bring the good tidings to all the afflicted and all those who mourn, and we'll give them garlands instead of ashes. Oh, we'll build a land where peace is born. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like the waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land building up ancient cities, raising up devastations from old, restoring ruins of generations. Oh, come, we'll build a land of people so bold. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like the waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. Come, build a land where the mantles of praises resound from the spirits once faint and once weak, where the oaks of righteousness stand her people. Oh, come, build the land, thy people we seek. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like the waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream.
This reading is from Reverend Douglas Taylor, minister of the Unitarian Universalist Church in Binghamton, New York. Life is not spread evenly for all people, but by reaching out to others, we can even it out more. Life is not fair, but by watching out for and supporting one another, we can make it more fair. It is not even or fair or just. That is our work, to bring more fairness and justice and love into life.
Each week, we take an offering to sustain the important ministries and programs of this congregation and its presence in Ithaca. You can provide a donation by sending a check to the office, clicking on the red Donate Now button on the website, or texting your contribution following the instructions on the screen. May these gifts bring about connection, inspiration, and engagement within these walls and beyond. We are grateful for your continued support.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
Good morning. I was visiting with Martha Ferger, and she told a story and said, sweet are the uses of adversity. And I thought that was pretty apropos to what I'm going to say today. Actually, putting this online service together hasn't been easy. It's complicated and involves a lot of people's help. At one point, we considered postponing or canceling. How easy it is for us, the privilege, to give up and find an alternative. But consider the boys in Dallas, boys full of faith and hope, boys for whom giving up and going back was not a viable option. They continued on their journey with patience and belief in a positive outcome. Kind of reminds me of 1 Corinthians 13. Love bears all things, believes all things. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. One of my favorite prayers these days is, may my love be greater than my fear. Consider this. You live in Ithaca, work at Cornell or some economically connected business. You and your family are flourishing in this place that has become your home. You all depend on the economic viability of this town. One day, a tornado swoops through, lifts Cornell and all the infrastructure and carries it away. All of the hills from Taganic Boulevard to Buffalo Street to Route 13 have turned to mud. Even if you find shelter and food is sent to you, how will you survive the year when your economic base is gone? How will you feed your family and plan for your future? You have some family in another town. You decide you'll send your 15-year-old son to live with his aunt and uncle in another town where there's work, and he can send some money home to you while you decide how to go on from here. In November 2020, two of the Earth's strongest storms, Eta and Iota, ravaged swaths of Panama, Costa Rica, Honduras, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Guatemala, and Belize in quick succession. Villagers were about to harvest their cardamom crops that take 3 years to grow, when waves of floodwater triggered by those 2 tropical storms washed 3 years of planned income away. You may remember the border wall of 2016, 2019, news reports of children in cages and being separated from family. Fast forward to Biden and the rising hopes of immigrants who needed to get past an international border to get to aunts and uncles and grandparents, ready to take them in and help out the family. You may remember the news reports of detention centers at the Texas border and overwhelming numbers of people to process through or turn away. In January and February of 2020, during COVID, every day brought increasingly dire reports. There were unpleasant photos of conditions, and we filled in the blanks with similar negative images in our own minds. There seemed to be no way to work this out to everyone's satisfaction. I'm a retired social worker and a disaster volunteer. Sitting in Ithaca during COVID, I felt helpless, but also curious. What's the real story, and how can I help? Then I was asked to help set up a shelter in Dallas in the convention center that is 1 million square feet of unused space thanks to COVID. But thanks to COVID, I wondered if it would be safe for me to fly, to work closely with other people who hopefully were vaccinated, and work with the immigrants who likely were not vaccinated. I asked each of my 3 kids for advice. One said, "No way, Mom." One said, "Go for it." And one said, "Well, there's this point to consider, and there might be that to think about. What if there were riots or violence outside the center from those who didn't agree about helping others with distress?" All this in a state that had just lifted their mask mandate and had no gun control laws. Need I tell you that emotions run high regarding the border and immigration issues? I believe in the concept of the empty step. It's a Tai Chi term. It's a way of maintaining balance by focusing on your strength, support, what is, not on what is not yet. You sink into your supporting foot and put your stepping foot out without weight. As you begin to commit, you sink more solidly into the back foot as you begin to put the front foot forward. Part of the sinking in is getting in touch with your heart and your feeling of oneness with the move. As you commit to the step, you commit with balance and stability. Why is this important? Because once I say yes, I want to be able to move out of my safe place here in Ithaca and commit to what's happening in Dallas, the physical work of setting up a shelter, and the emotional work of whatever I might witness. What I took with me was my desire to add positive energy to the process of helping immigrants and migrants and climate victims and traumatized people. Whatever was true or not true about the reports we were hearing here in the U.S., I wanted to see for myself and see what I could do. Dallas Convention Center looked like a ghost town when I arrived. Nothing happening. I'd met a colleague at the airport, and now we tried to find an open door to the immense facility. No signs. Once we found ourselves inside and upstairs, things were really buzzing. There was, or would be over the next days, Homeland Security, Health and Human Services, Catholic Charities, Red Cross, Dallas School System, the food catering service, at one point one service left and another came, a company that brought showers in on trucks, like huge mobile homes, 8 showers to a truck, 16 trucks parked out back. Custodians, doctors, nurses, teachers, social workers, managers, administrators, media interface folks, sanitary engineers, security. Everyone was in charge and no one was. Rules changed by the hour. There were cots to set up, 2,200 of them, as many as we could legally set up in one large room that was secured for us. There was lots more space, but not enough staff to secure it. As the boys arrived, we were only providing this shelter for 14 to 17-year-olds. They arrived 200 or 700 at a time, usually at night in the back of the facility to avoid media and other attention. We handed out comfort kits, soap, toothbrush and paste, etc., towels, blankets, clothing, and a bag to put it all in. The boys were a little travel weary. How long had their trip been to this point? I think the most important thing we handed out was hope, a greeting, welcome, bienvenidos, compassion, here's your bathing kit, understanding that they had no idea what we were shoving at them and how this would get them to where they were going. It was important to explain things to them in Spanish. Una toalla, jabón, follow me, sígueme. Before I left, I invoked the spirit of Norma Helsper, FUSIT member and Spanish professor, to help me with my Spanish. Between that and Google Translate, I got better and better at communicating. About a week into the time, I started saying things in English and Spanish, and then just in English to help the boys learn. I had a group to myself of 50 boys that I was always with, a 12-hour shift. We had to stay in our little square of space, so I had to get them to the toilets, showers, meals, programming, such as 20 minutes of teaching time or recreation every other day. I played the music on my iPhone, an upbeat ringtone to wake them in the morning. Timing was strict in order to get everyone through meals and bathroom time. I played Latin hip-hop for some and mariachi for others. They all gathered round to listen, and I could feel their spirits returning to their village, the familiar sounds of home and friends that's now only a place in their hearts. Who knows whether they will ever return there. We had some good times. Boys got to know each other. They started laughing and fooling around, throwing soccer balls across the room and flying paper airplanes until some administrator would come through and tell us to stop. Then someone would start it again elsewhere in the big room, and we would go back to trying to relax and forget we were locked in. No outside, ever. The boys called me Tia, Auntie. And all of this is to say that the news we hear back here in Ithaca is what someone chooses to tell us, what someone decides we'll be interested in, what will attract the most viewers to a news service to sell ads or get subscribers. We're all drama mamas of a sort, and good news gets stale. Many years from now, some of us will read novels about this experience of one of the boys, about the long trip, about the adventure, about the outcome. But right now, the sound bites cannot convey the depth and breadth of what's happening. And all of this is to say you don't let bad news pull you down, deflate your balloon of hope, rain on your parade, overwhelm you with feelings of helplessness. Believe in the possible. Look at the bright side, silver lining. No, it's a process, and that's where we can help. We can provide a little shelter along the way, a kind word, a comfort kit, music for good memories, along with food and blankets. These kids are our future and we are theirs, and they are our nephews. When I took out a map, the boys came running over. Where is Wyoming? Where is Tennessee? They would ask. They each had addresses of family members they were going to. They wanted to know how long to get there, by plane, by bus, by walking. These boys had a direction. They only needed a compass to steer by, but they also need a moral compass, a leader, someone who shows them the way is not only a road, but it's in kindness and compassion and care. I believe they will pay it forward. That is the kind of boys I met, and that is the kind of people we can be to welcome them here. Thank you.
And now a reading by Anonymous. This reading was retrieved from the UUA website, and it's entitled, I am afraid of nearly everything. I am afraid of nearly everything, of darkness, hunger, war, children mutilated. But most of all, I am afraid of what I might become, reconciled to injustice, resigned to fear and despair, lulled into a life of apathy. Unchain my hope, make me strong. Stretch me towards the impossible that I may work for what ought to be. The hungry fed, the enslaved freed, the suffering comforted, the peace accomplished.
The standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now. Never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat. Oh. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions. Are we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, breathe the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat. Oh.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.